Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and also a best-selling author. And every single day, I help others unlock the potentials and guide them to succeed. Today, I have another amazing guest, and this is somebody I noticed online with a lot of great content, a lot of great insight, and also great tips about health and wellness. He is the author of the book, Awaken the Sexy Within. He's also trained hundreds of people, thousands of people when it comes to their habits, nutrition, and also exercising. He's all the way from Australia, so please welcome the weight loss coach, the health strategist. Please welcome Robb Evans.
G'day, Fong. Thank you. And thanks for inviting me to the show. It's an honor to be on here. And I think I should get you to do my intros for myself. Love the enthusiasm.
Thank you very much for being here. It's all the way from Australia. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
How have you been?
Yeah, great. I was going to ask you how things were going with COVID over there now, where I kind of think that we're fortunate to be an island so far away, like a very big island, away from everybody else, which makes it a bit easier. But I mean, we've come out of lockdown after being locked down for 7.5 months, and we've been out for a couple of months now. So things are getting back to normal. We've still got a lot of face mask restrictions and all that kind of stuff, but that just feels good, I think, to be getting back into some sense of normality, even though everybody's still a little bit scared about what it is that you can be doing. But yeah, I'm doing great. Business is booming. People are wanting to change because of the COVID situation, and yeah, just loving life.
Awesome. Now, there's a lot of people out there who may or may not know exactly what you do. We know that you're a coach and a person who helps people with regards to their health and their exercise and whatnot. But tell us more about the history, how you got to become a health strategist, and also your expertise.
Sure thing. So I guess I've got a little bit of a different background because I actually studied to be a chartered accountant, and I followed that path for about 19 years before having the career change. But it's 33 years this year that I've been training myself and, working out with others and learning about it, because it's just a true passion of mine. I wanted to try. Ironically, I suppose the majority of clients that I work with are weight loss. Now, I didn't need to lose weight. I wanted to gain weight. So I'm a shorter guy and I wanted to put on more muscle. And I was fortunate that I discovered a good gym to go to, a good coach at the time. We're talking back in 1988. When things just, like, the whole gym scene just looked different back then. You didn't really have personal trainers or anything. It was like you went to the gym, the guy that ran the gym owned the gym, and he coached you. And so from there, I just really developed a bug for it. But I felt I didn't think about making a business or a career out of it at that point. It was really just a case of how do I make some money and what's good. And to be honest, I liked wearing suits. So I thought, okay, this is a good occupation for me. Accounting, wearing a suit, all that kind of stuff. But after becoming a chartered accountant and working with now it's the big four, but at my time, it was the big 6 accounting firms. I discovered that I really didn't like the culture that was in there. And I left there, went into private industry, and I was just looking for a new challenge every 4 years or so. And I thought, I didn't know what was going to sustain me to the rest of my life kind of thing. I liked what I did, but I didn't love it. Mm-hmm. And then one day I was sitting in my studio at home and I thought, what am I going to do? And then it was literally a light bulb moment. So I looked up at the light and thought, why don't I do this? So I thought, okay. So I went off and I got qualified because I didn't want to do another uni qualification. So I didn't want to become like a sports scientist or anything like that. So I did the minimum essential requirements for training so that I could start trading, get insurance, all that kind of stuff. And so I've been doing it for 12 years full time now. I resigned from the Institute of Chartered Accountants because I didn't want to hang on to anything. People, when I left, I left like a high paying like exec job to do it. And people are like, you're crazy. You can always come back when it doesn't work. All that kind of stuff. And said, why would I need to come back? I'm going to make it work because it's what I love doing. And so that's what started it back in 2009 now. And I haven't really looked back. I mean, you know what it's like when you're starting your own business. It's tough. And I think when you're not working for yourself, what you think is hard is different to when you're running your own business. And then it's like, oh, right, that's what hard is. And that's what hard work is. And now I don't even look at the clock really, apart from appointments. But, you know, I'm working 16-hour days, working with clients, helping change their lives. Since 1988, I developed a bug for it. I'm reading all the time. I'm learning. I'm getting more qualifications. I'm getting coaching to become the best version of me, so I can, you know, bring that out for other people. And through that journey, I discovered that, wow, I've got a lot to share here that I didn't feel I could get out just in, you know, the coaching sessions I was doing. So that's when the book idea came, Awaken the Sexy Within. And that's just looking at weight loss and transformation from the kind of the inside out, starting with the mindset, then going from the inside out. And because I think there's a bit of a gap in the industry. So that happened, then created the online program and a number of coaching programs from there. And that's kind of how really fast tracked how I've evolved to where I am now.
Wow, fascinating. Like for somebody who was so successful in the accounting industry, to make that jump, one, you had to face all those other people who's telling you not to do it. And two, you have to just kind of take that leap of faith and go, you know what, I'm gonna make this work. What would you say was the most difficult part of that? There's a lot of things happening, but what was the one thing that you go, you know what, once I could get over this, it's smooth sailing?
I think it was that initial fear, because for a couple of years I thought, that what if? You know, what if I do jump on that other side? You know, I'm losing, you know, triple figure income from a stable job that I enjoy, but didn't love, but enjoyed it. Loved working with the people that I was working with. But I thought, oh, but what if I stay and I can just accumulate wealth and do all that, but there'll be another huge part of me that's not fulfilled. Or if I go on the other side, what if I can't? Like, how long is it going to take me to get back to this same level of income? And that was a fear of mine. I thought, I know I'm going to get there, but how quickly is it going to happen? So I think initially it was that decision. And then I just made that commitment to myself. And, you know, that old, I know Greek mythology about the first order that the commander gave when they took an island was to burn the boats. They took everything off the boat and burned the boat. So you've got to make it work there or you die.
Yeah.
And that was kind of me symbolic about resigning from the Institute of Chartered Accountants and stuff, to say, you know what, I'm not going to rely on that. I'm going to make this on my own. And that was probably the hardest decision. People think that it's a really huge step away from accounting to what I do now, but there are many different roles in accounting, and I spent most of my time doing like internal audit and things like that, which is, what are you doing for that? Well, you're coaching people, you are writing recommendations for improvements and so forth. And then when I start my last position, we were responsible for 600 staff. We were responsible for coaching them, training them, and doing all that. And guess what? Also doing a health program. So it wasn't as massive shift as it may seem at first sight. But my heart's always been in, you know, the health and fitness. So
would you say that because you were an accountant to begin with, that you've actually gotten a benefit or an advantage over all the other people who didn't actually have that kind of background?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I say in my biography when people are asking about me is that I bring a level of professionalism that is really missing in this industry. I don't want to poo-poo on the fitness industry, but it's a very easy qualification to get. And with that brings people that think you can make easy money out of it. Because they see that you might be charging $80, $100 a session or whatever, and they're working for somebody that's paying them like 25 or something like that. And they're like, oh, well, I could do this. But they don't realize what it takes to run a business and keep it running and keep that funnel of leads coming in and all that kind of stuff. So absolutely. If I had to go back and do it again, like if I had a choice, like say 30 years ago, and I knew what I knew now, I would probably say, yeah, look, maybe I would have done a sports science degree and gone down a different field to get to where I am now, and it would be different. But I wouldn't have had the experience through dealing with executives and directors and doing all the presentations that I've done when I was in those corporate jobs to give me that speaking confidence. Because when I was a kid, I hated speaking.
Mhm.
Like say, like 40 years ago, if somebody asked me to do what we're doing now, I'd be like, oh, no, look, can you get someone else to do that? I'm not confident in doing that. But I forced myself into those uncomfortable situations so that I would get that personal growth as well. So definitely, I would say the way that I approach my business now, the way that I approach my coaching with my clients, my mindset, it just keeps me always looking for that. I don't know, how do we wow clients? How do we do it professionally? So I guess it's really played a big part in who I am today. So I wouldn't change it.
Now, what as a weight loss coach, what would you say is the biggest reason why people feel that working out is so hard?
I think it's interesting. The clients that I have often never been into a gym. So I have a private studio, so I can work with a small group of people. I can work with one-on-one with people, or my team can. And people like that privacy so that you're not ogled in the gym and all that kind of stuff. But what I hear when I do consultations with people is that the common themes are that I'm lazy, I need accountability, I'm not motivated, I need someone to kick my butt, all that kind of stuff. The other thing is that people I say to people, you don't know what you don't know. And so when it comes to whether it's just improving your health, gaining weight, or losing fat, it's about your food. Like the food is the biggest part. And people don't know what they don't know about food. Like for you, for instance, unless you've got a real passion for it, you probably eat very similarly to the way that your parents have maybe eaten, unless you've purposely made a decision to change that. Yep. But otherwise, like certainly over here in Australia, it's based on 3 meals a day. Maybe there's dessert, and maybe you might have a snack in between somewhere, and that's pretty much it. Yep. So most of my clients, when they first start, might be eating anywhere between 2 to maybe 4 times a day, and that's it. And I have to get them to 6 times a day. Wow. So that can be, that can be a challenge for people. So at the end of the day, it's the mindset, the perception around how hard it's going to be, how much, if it comes to food, how restrictive a diet will be, how hard the workouts are going to be, and how long they have to do it for. And some people just don't like pain. They don't like, that. You work out yourself. Yeah, that lactic acid feeling. Now we train for that. And some people don't get that, but that's a good feeling. I trained legs 3 days ago. My butt is still killing me, but that's a good pain. A lot of people don't want to push into that pain, but isn't it so true about anything in life? If you want to get better at it, you got to push into the pain. If you want to get stronger,
it hurts. It hurts. Yeah. It must be working. It hurts.
That's right.
Unfortunately, exactly. I have that same mentality when I go see my chiropractor. And if I don't hear enough cracks, it feels like I don't get enough for my money. So I'm like, I think you need to do it again. He's like, it doesn't mean it's working if you're hearing cracks. I'm like, well, I don't know. So a lot of it has to do with habits as well. And you're a person who's able to help people break habits and then create better habits. So what is the first thing you would do to somebody or suggest to somebody who has a bad habit and needs to break it?
So if we're particularly talking about weight loss, I would say, or just body transformation, health transformation, the very first thing that I ask people is, what do you want? Because they might have a habit, but is it a disempowering habit? Is it an empowering habit? Something they just want to change for some reason? I say, so what do you really want? And they say, oh yeah, I want to lose weight. I say, okay, so how much do you think you'd like to lose? And then I ask them, what's the dream? So I always get 2 numbers. I'll say, how much weight would you like to lose? Oh, I'd like to lose 10 kilos. I say, okay. I say, what's your dream? Oh, well, I'd really like to lose 20. I say, well, why did you say 10? Oh, well, because of my age, I don't think I can lose that. And, kids, and I've had kids and all that kind of stuff. I said, well, no, let's just talk about the 20. Okay. Because that's the dream. And that's where we make dreams come true here. So let's focus on the 20. And then I asked them, so why is that important to you? I say, so what is it that's going to drive? Because this is the motivation, this is where the inspiration comes from in terms of why it is that they want to do this. Why do they want to change? And so I really drill in on that. And then I ask them, what's your commitment level? Oh, well, let me go back a step. When I'm asking why, I'm looking for emotive reasons. So some people will say, because I really want to have children and I'm unhealthy and X, Y, Z. My parents have got heart disease, cancer. And type 2 diabetes. I don't want to be like them. My partner won't touch me anymore because I'm too overweight. I don't feel comfortable with who I am. I just want to go into a shop and be able to buy clothes. This is for men and women, that improve their self-confidence, all those really emotive things that, it kind of tear jerkers. And then I asked them, if you had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to achieving this change once and for all? And if they give me less than 10, I say, so why aren't you 10? And there'll be things like, oh, well, I don't know how hard it's going to be. It might be a time issue. It might be, I don't know whether I can, be as strict with my food and all that kind of stuff. Now, all those fears are based on things that they don't know. They're based on the things that they're making up in their own mind. So then once we've established that, so I'll give you an example of a client that I've got at the moment. She's very slight. She's got a lot of stress in her life at home and so forth. And so she eats before she saw me, she ate once a day. Okay. Smokes 20 cigarettes. And I think survives off like soft drinks, soda, sugary drinks, that kind of thing. And I said, okay, do you want to change this? And she told me all the things that I just went through. I said, okay, so we need to do this on a step-by-step process. So I said, you're eating one meal a day. I said, well, first of all, I get them to realize, do you think what you're doing is supporting where you want to go? And obviously knowing the answer to that would be no. And they normally say no. I say, okay, so that means you've got to change. So let's do this. If you're this week, I want you to, or the next 2 days before I see you again, I want you to eat 2 to 3 meals and make them all highly nutritious. She told me what she was eating. It was not a good choice, like takeaway and stuff. So I said, that's the first thing. I said, I want to get you eventually to 6 meals, but the first thing to change your habits is let's focus on that first meal, that second meal. Let's make those really nutritious. And she came back and she said, yeah, I ate 4 meals today. And I said, oh, fantastic. So now it's about, let's just keep doing that. So now I've started working on her cigarettes. She's only been going a couple of weeks. And I said, so tell me about the cigarettes. Obviously, we all know that cigarette smoking is bad. And I said, do you want to stop? And she said, yeah. I said, okay, so what I want you to do, I said, how many are you smoking? She said, 20. And I said, when do you go to sleep? And she told me, and I said, so that gives you 14 hours. I said, that's about 1.5 an hour that you're smoking. I said, do you have them lined up like in the cartoons where, like one's coming out and one's going in, they're all just coming along like that? And she told me her program of smoking. And I said, if only you put that much thought into your food, you'd be doing so much better. So I said, I want you to cut down by 2 cigarettes this next week. And she said, yeah, I can do that. So not to cut them out or cut them down by half, let's cut down by 10%.
Yeah.
And let's get her to do that for a bit. And I'm going to check in with her next week. She comes in to see me Wednesday. And I'll say, how did you go? And I think she'll have done it, because the idea is to set a change that's not so hard that they're not going to do it. So I think my idea is, when it comes to changing any habit, I did used to approach this differently. I was like, man, I want you eating 6 meals a day. Fine, you're only eating 1. So by the end of this week, I want you to be eating 6 meals. This is how you do it. But now what I do is say, well, I want you to be able to sustain this forever. So if I say to you, let's just make those meals that you're having at the moment, don't increase them, but let's just see if we can get some more plant-based food. And I say, let's get an extra cup, like an extra cup of veggies in today for you. And that'd be a good start for you. And let's just do that for a few days. And guess what? Then you start to form a new habit. So we're making it achievable. We're making it a small change so that new habit becomes empowering, and you're leaving the disempowering ones behind. So do I want to get her to no cigarettes? Absolutely. So once we do 2, I'll see how she found out. I said, was that good? Were you climbing the walls? And if she says, no, it was fine, I say, okay, well, let's cut down by another 2 this next week and see how that goes. Or 1. Or let's just make it less, and keep checking in on her food. Water's a good one. So water, I personally try and consume 3 to 4 litres of water a day. Now, I don't know what that is in gallons, but are your litres? in Canada?
We're in leaders, yeah.
Yeah. So some people say that they'll drink less than a litre. I say, okay, well, and explain the reasons why that's not awesome for their health. I said, if you're drinking a litre now, let's take it up by a cup, which is 250 mils.
Mm-hmm.
And let's do that for this next week. And so, oh yeah, I can do that. And so just setting these little changes to start to form these new habits until you condition yourself.
Yeah.
And like everybody does this now with different things. So like, for instance, if you've put on shoes today with shoelaces, I guarantee you didn't stop and think, okay, it's right over left. I do this, I form a bow, pull it out. You just do it because you've done it so many times that you've conditioned yourself. The key is to have more empowering habits than disempowering ones and just making small changes.
Cool. Now, working with a lot of different types of people and lots of different types of couples as well, have you found that working with couples who are committed to doing the program gets you better results?
As opposed to somebody doing it by themselves? Yeah, look, I always love it when I work with a couple because I know that the whole household is then going to be on track. Sometimes I can be working with somebody that's really, really focused and has got a big journey. So I've got a client at the moment. When she started with me, she needed to lose 70 kilos.
Wow.
She probably needs to lose I think she wants to lose another 40 or 50 kilos. But her partner has absolutely zero interest in changing. And he probably needs to lose probably closer to 70 or 80 himself.
Mm-hmm.
So how hard is that if she's focusing on her food, but he's constantly bringing in takeaway, constantly, putting snack treats or saying, oh, let's go out, let's do this. And not necessarily deliberately doing it, but constantly sabotaging against it. That can be really hard. So when you've got the couple on board, then absolutely that can give great results. Having said that, I've had some couples that have done awesomely well together, and I've had some that have been disastrous. Because normally in a relationship, there's a more dominant force, okay, a more dominant influence. And you can relate to this as a man. If our women are suffering, we will drop everything to fix it and be there for them. And it's kind of like, let's just say that you're on this healthy, meal plan, and you know that ice cream's not in there. And they want ice cream. You know that they shouldn't, but they're crying and they're really upset. It's like, oh, come on, baby, just have some ice cream. It's okay. You'll be okay. But really, what we should be saying is, come on, snap out of it. And so I guess that the idea is to not use food as that crutch. So I've had some clients where there is that dominant force, and when one of them's down, they're both down. If one's up, the other one's up. As well. But if one's down, that normally drags the other one down with them because they're kind of like they can't do it by themselves.
So is it something that you encourage? So for instance, you're having consultation with one person, and then would you kind of encourage, hey, if you have a spouse, I think your spouse should be a part of this as well so that you could get maximized results? Yeah,
absolutely. When I first do a consultation with people, I say, okay, if you've got a partner or something that's, wants to do this with you, or, what's their state of health? And they normally say, oh, well, they're overweight or whatever. And I say, okay, when we do our meal plan, whether it's via Zoom or in person, I get them to bring their partner along. So I said, the last thing that I want you to do is go home and do these things. They'll have a lot of questions. So I said, I can play the nasty person. And I can say, especially if it's a guy that comes in and then expects their female partner to do all the work. I say, no. And I'll do it in front of the partner. I'll say, okay, Fong, I know you're doing this, but you've got to do the meal prep here. Don't expect, your partner to do that. You've got to do it. You've got to take full ownership of this, because if there's a day they can't do it, you're not going to do it. So you've got to take ownership for it. So, look, I love working with couples because I know that the message gets in deeply. It's just that sometimes, they can pull each other down. But on the whole, most of the couples do really well together. And even the ones that don't work as couples, they take it home. So if it's a single person, or I'm just training the one person, they'll take it home, and then the partner adjusts and the kids adjust and all that kind of stuff. So I see a lot of parents that are really wanting to have a positive impact on their kids.
Yeah.
And so if, they see them eating more healthily, they know the kids are going to follow.
Yeah.
So, it's part of the exciting transformation journey.
Nice. Now, you wrote the book, Awaken the Sexy Within. Tell us a little bit more about that book, the premise, and also how people can pick that up.
Sure thing. So the book, as I mentioned before, is about mindset. It's called Awaken the Sexy Within because, one, I think if people can relate to their health and fitness and wellness in terms of being sexy, so being healthy is kind of like the new sexy, that just shifts your mind from just weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because being sexy is about gaining muscle as well. It's not about just losing weight. It's about being healthy, feeling good in who you are as well. So the idea of the book is not just a reading book, it's a workbook. So there's 43 action steps in there. And if you do every single step as written,
Mm-hmm.
then you will transform yourself. It's guaranteed. The thing with most books is that most people won't finish reading the book, or most people will read it and not do the work. It's like, well, hang on a second. If you want to change, pick up the book. If you don't want to change and you just want to pick up the book for fun, then I honestly wouldn't recommend it. You've got to want to change. And if you want to change, whether it's lose fat, gain muscle, just improve your health, improve your self-confidence and self-image, then buy the book, do the tasks, and it really powerfully impacts your mindset. Now, you might think that with a book like this, all we're going to do is talk about food and do the exercises, but there's actually a number of chapters that we go through before we even talk about food or working out. Mm-hmm. Because if your headspace isn't right, if you're not doing it for the right way, if you don't really understand what it is that you want to achieve for yourself, you're never going to get there. So the very first step that I get people to do in the book is to take all your clothes off and stand in front of the mirror and critically look at yourself, but in two ways. One, to analyze what's wrong with yourself, but also analyze the things that you love with yourself from all sides, and writing it down using emotive language. So that creates some fuel for you. And people might be listening to this now or doing the task first and think, why the hell am I doing this? Because what we're doing is we're building these building blocks for the future. Yeah. And if you can really look at yourself in a true naked sense, I mean, there's not one person I know on the planet that would do that and say, yep, I'm absolutely content with exactly what it is that I say. We all want change. And then if you then commit to that change, identify what that change is, then you'll get there. So that's why we work on the mindset so much first. And then, yeah, in the book, we've also got, there's up to 156 different workouts in there. There's meal plans, done for you meal plans as well. But it's the mindset side of it that I really love. If anyone wants to pick it up, it's awakenthesexywithin.com. It's available all around the world. It's available in bookstores in the US. You can grab a copy there.
Awesome. Sounds amazing, and obviously something that works a lot for people who are committed to improve themselves. So remember to pick up that book. Now, before I let you go, I have some very quick questions. Just give me the first thing that comes to mind.
Sure thing.
If you had the opportunity to share one message to the world, and you had a lot of great advice throughout this whole interview, what's that one message you would share?
Commit to growing yourself every day.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. If you had the opportunity to have a co-star in a movie where you're the leading actor, who's that co-star?
Okay, Arnold. Arnold's my big idol.
You have the opportunity to ask Arnold one question. What question would that be?
Oh gosh, I was actually supposed to meet him last year, and it got cancelled because of COVID. Oh gosh. That's a tough one because I listen to so many different things and he's been asked so many different questions. Maybe it would be what his daily routine is for growing his mindset.
Awesome. Now you have Arnold in your kitchen and he's hungry. So what's your specialty? What's your best dish that you could prepare for him?
All right. Well, I've got a couple. Now, if he's super hungry in a hurry, I know he loves a good smoothie. So I would make him up one of my choc mango smoothies, like protein smoothies. If he was staying for dinner, I would probably make up, I've got this awesome recipe for salmon, teriyaki glazed salmon with some brown rice and some mixed vegetables.
Cool. Now, you're stranded in the desert island and you're allowed one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence. What's that one food?
Oh, gee. One food. I'm trying to see. Here's me thinking protein, high energy carbs.
No, there's no consequence. You'll stay fit. You'll be good.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I have this chocolate protein bar that I have, which is called the Chocolate Decadence Isogenics product. I absolutely love those. If that was the only thing I could eat and get all the energy and everything that I want, then yes, that would be it.
Awesome. And my final question, what is success like? I have 3 random items. Give me a number between 1 to 3.
2.
So how is success similar to an iPod?
All right. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I reckon the iPod's not going to last too much longer. I've got one, and when it dies, it's gone. It's just the phone. How is success like an iPod? Well, I think if you think about when the iPod was developed and when Steve Jobs launched it, it completely revolutionized the music industry. I mean, I used to have oh gosh, I'm scared to say this, but a Sony Walkman that had cassette tapes in it and the big foam earphones with the big cord and everything. Then they went to CD players and stuff. I mean, I think the way that just revolutionized the music industry and just turned everything on its head, I think it's just amazing and just shows you what commitment to change really looks like.
Mm-hmm. Well said. So success is like an iPod because you just have to commit to change.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Well, thank you very much for your time. And I know you have a lot of other stuff on the go. So I'll let you get back the rest of your day. Any last words?
No, just to say thank you. Keep up your good work. I love your show. And yeah, keep it up. And once again, thanks so much for inviting me onto your show. It's been a great,
thank you very
great
much.
chat.
For everybody else out there, please tune into his show. It's a great show. He has lots of great guests and lots of great content. And also remember to pick up that book. You can't wait to stand in front of the mirror naked. And then also, so again, once again, his name is Robb Evans. My name is Fong Chua. Until next time, today is the day to unlock your peak potential. We'll see you later.